Cassie's story has stirred public outrage, confusion, and deep reflection, especially when she admitted to going back to Diddy even after the abuse. Many people have asked, why? Why go back? Why meet for dinner? Why return to a man who hurt you? Well, today we're going to break that down from a psychological perspective. We'll talk about the cycle of abuse, the trauma bond, the danger of seeking closure, and how we can heal and protect ourselves and our communities from future intimate partner violence. Hi friends, welcome and welcome back to the channel. I'm Jenny Gaston, licensed professional counselor, and today we're diving into another necessary conversation. And this is about intimate partner violence and trauma bonding. Let's start with understanding what a trauma bond actually is. A trauma bond is a strong emotional attachment that forms between an abuser and their victim. It's not based on love, it's based on intermittent abuse, followed by moments of affection or love bombing. Your brain gets caught in this cycle of highs and lows, abuse, apology, affection, and then repeat. Cassie shared in court that she still has love for Diddy, and that might sound strange to some, but that's the trauma bonding talking. It's not about logic, it's chemical. Adrenaline and cortisol spike during abuse, and the dopamine floods the brain through the honeymoon phases. Over time, the cycle becomes addicting. You're not addicted to the person, you're addicted to the pattern. So when Cassie went back, it wasn't weakness, it was psychological conditioning. This is very common for many who grew up in toxic homes where there were at least one narcissistic parent. Growing up in an environment like that grooms you to be abused as an adult because instead of leaving when things turn south, you end up staying and you engage in what is called magical thinking, that if I do X, Y, and Z, then this person will change. On average, it takes a woman or a partner 7 times to leave an abusive relationship for good. Why? Because abuse is confusing, especially when an abuser is also your source of comfort, money, career advancement, or even identity. Now, in same-sex couples, intimate partner violence is actually even higher. Cassie was signed to Bad Boy Records, and her abuser was her boss, her romantic partner, powerful figure in the industry. And when they took a break, she briefly dated another producer, and that triggered Diddy, who reportedly accused her of cheating. Okay, so this type of possessiveness is not love, it's control. And let's be clear. When Cassie was beaten in a hotel hallway, a public space, mind you, it makes you wonder what happened behind closed doors. This is not just drama, this is domestic violence. And so seeking closure can be so dangerous, and we saw it here in her case. Cassie later agreed to meet with Diddy at a restaurant for closure. Many women do this thinking they need to say goodbye or get answers. But in abusive relationships, closure is a trap. That moment of contact puts you at risk emotionally and physically. Cassie said that after dinner, Diddy asked to go back to her place. That night, he allegedly sexually assaulted her. This aligns with research showing that the most dangerous time for a survivor is when they try to leave. That's when power and control are most threatened. Sadly, many times people are unalive when trying to leave their partner. And so this is devastating, but also not uncommon. After the assault, Cassie voluntarily went back and became intimate with Diddy again. And many of her supporters could not understand, but like I said, there's more that's happening psychologically. And sometimes survivors go back in an effort to reclaim power. Okay, you cannot go with logic here. It's hard to explain unless you lived it. For many, going back to their abuser on their terms feels like regaining and snatching that control over something that was taken from them. It's a way for them to rewrite the narrative and say, that didn't actually happen to me, but I'm making moves here. But here's the truth. Returning does not mean that the abuse didn't happen, right? We cannot live in denial. It means that the survivor is still caught in that trauma bond, still seeking safety, right, from the very person that caused them harm. And this doesn't make Cassie or any survivor weak. It makes them human. Survivors often wrestle with many feelings: shame, hope, fear, guilt, attachment, all at the same time. So, where do we go from here? It's important for us to educate our communities about what abuse really looks like. Not just physical violence, but emotional manipulation, coercive control, and power imbalance. It's important to end the shame. Survivors often stay silent because they're afraid they won't be believed, or even worse, judged for staying. We have to stop asking, why didn't she just leave? And start asking, how can we help her feel safe enough to go? It's important to also teach healthy relationship skills, especially for our young people, to know the red flags like love bombing, for one, isolation from friends and family, especially when your partner is talking about your friends and family in negative light, control disguised as protection, right? I just want to know where you're at to make sure you're safe, gaslighting, threats during breakups. Knowing the difference between connection and anxiety is key, because many times we get those butterflies in our tummy and think it's love, but in fact, our body is dysregulated and telling us that you are living in a scary movie and it's time to get out. So know that practically you can create a safety plan. Okay, survivors should never be told to leave quickly without support. Leaving takes planning, protection, and a network. This is why developing a safety plan is crucial. So I will leave a link in the description on how to create a safety plan. Also, therapy heals. As a therapist, I have a therapist, okay? Life be life in it. But trauma bonds does not break overnight. It takes professional support. If you can't afford therapy, seek a support group, someone who is trauma informed, who might specialize in EMDR, and know that you're not alone and you can heal. Now, Cassie's story is painful, but it's also powerful because it's bringing awareness to a form of violence that hides behind fame, wealth, and influence. To those listening who are in a toxic relationship or healing from one, you're not crazy, you're not weak, you are surviving a psychological war. And so if you're watching this and you know someone is in danger or you're in danger, please contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE. Again, that's 1-800-799-7233. Let's stop victim blaming. Let's talk about power, control, hiding, and break free from these trauma bonds. So thank you for being here. Like, comment, and share if this helped you in any way to understand this trauma bonding more deeply. And remember that healing is possible. Much love.